Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm just getting set up here. Uh, and okay. Just going to wait a few moments to give people time to join in. We had a good group last time. Each time is great. Each time is very different. Each time is great. So you can always do the replays on this as it's just as effective. So I'm going to read my disclaimer. And today is September 8th, 2021. And my name is Marianne Carduner with unboundedandfree.com. And I'm not a medical doctor or therapist. I don't diagnose, prescribe, or heal. I can scan your frequency and energy patterning and tell you what I see. However, you should consult a doctor or therapist for professional advice. And all content is copyright protected, and you may not use our content in any way, shape, or form without my written permission. So there we go for that. So coming into being, this is whatever we're doing. This is one of the most important things that we can do for ourselves. And what does that mean exactly? Well, this is the experiential of what that means. So if you're stopping in, seeing some people showing up. So if you're stopping in, just please wave your hand in the chat. Like Catherine, yay, Catherine. I assume you're still in Poland traveling. So that's nice for you to be able to join us in your travels. So coming into being. Everything that we do has one purpose, or should have one purpose, and it's really about connecting to ourselves. So it doesn't matter what we do. What matters is that is connecting us to ourselves, coming into that fullness of that expression of who we are. And so here we are today, coming into being. So let's just kind of jump into that experience of that. This is a very experiential series, because that's how I live life. That's how I do stuff, that's how I learn, and that's how I've grown. So take a deep breath in, or two, or even three, and let yourself just, I'm kind of move my shoulders around a little bit, and just kind of find that relaxation. Sometimes it's just good to shake a little bit, even if it's just very slightly, and let yourself just settle in a little bit more deeply. Notice the sights, notice the sounds that are coming in around you. I've got a big air conditioner blower outside the house here. So noticing the distance, how far it is away, and you can look in that distance, but also it's in that direction, but it's good also to just notice that without looking in that direction, because what happens is when we look in a direction, we hear something, we look over there, we tend to throw ourselves out there, our energy out there kind of thing, our non-physical aspect out there to wherever that's coming from, and we want to stay centered. So notice that. Notice if you do that, with any sound. So it could even be the sound of my voice coming through whatever you're listening on. But also with sights. Sometimes we're walking down the street or walking in a park or something, and a little bird flies by, or somebody else and pops out on the side, flutters away, and then we go boom. And again, throwing our non-physical aspect out of ourselves. So the most important thing about coming into our being is to stay really centered and present in ourselves. So it's practice, but developing that skill to just notice and stay centered, even if you're noticing this little thing at the side here, however close it is to you, and even looking at it, feeling it from where you are, and staying centered in yourself. So that might not seem like a lot, but as we move through life, there's a lot of things that are coming at us. Some of us are really only aware of the physical level, and many of us are aware of the physical because we see, we hear, the physical is very tangible. But many of us are also aware of non-physical information that comes at us. And that can take the shape of a lot of different things. People's emotions, people's thoughts, energetics. I'll call it energy because I'm used to that term. I've been working in this field for a long time, so it used to be energy, now it's kind of frequency, but it's kind of both. A lot of things come at us from a lot of different directions. If somebody's thinking of you really strongly, and if you're able to tap into that, if they have it really strongly, they just have to have that focused piece on you, and you might get hit by that, and you might feel that. It might come in, and you're like, boom, just kind of not just explodes in your face, it explodes into you as well, into and meshes in, and then let's say they were feeling upset about something that happened between the two of you, and then you're starting to feel upset. You might even be starting to think about them. So when we develop that skill of just coming into our center, and so practicing when we do what's called spatial referencing or GPS locating, of staying centered and noticing something, that helps to create that sense of boundary. This is me. Everything else is not me. So getting a clear sense of me. And when things like that happen, as we get really good with that centering in ourselves, we'll feel it much sooner, much more quickly, and separate out more quickly. Also, it's like, nope, that's not me. Or even just become really present, and that's enough to separate it out. So take a nice deep breath in wherever you are. Feel into your spine and kind of relax back into your spine. Like there's, you can kind of lean back gently against against your spine, and there's that sense of, holding you up. You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open, whatever's easier. And if it's easier, I would challenge you to do the one that's not as easy for you, because part of that is you're in a space with a lot of people doing this, so that will help you to feel it more. Ilaria, hey Ilaria, good to see you. This is hi Marianne and Catherine. Yes, good. Thanks for joining and good to see you. So relaxing back into that spine, and just, like you're almost leaning against it, and you might feel, if you've got that strength and that stability anchored into that spine, it's like you'll feel like it's there, and it's actually pushing against you're leaning backwards, so giving that sense of support, of your spirit having gotten your back. Marlou, hi Marianne. I feel other frequencies from my environment come into me before I know it. Good topic. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and a lot of times, yeah, so if you notice that, you might not notice it right away. Part of that might be, it's a little bit how skilled you are in being really aware. Hi, Harold. How aware you are of always that constant presence within yourself. And sometimes, you know, if like you had a big bang that exploded, you know, just right next to you, until you get really strong at holding that presence within yourself, holding yourself within yourself, um, your awareness within yourself, and being used to just like, okay, noticing but not budging from that centeredness. That's just gonna, you know, throw anybody off. And it's a question of how quickly you bounce back from that too. So, you know, you start by noticing. As soon as you notice it, it's like, ooh, you know, even if it's 5 days later, you know, I mean, basically, if you're doing this work now, it's like 30 years ago, you experienced something and now you're noticing it, you know, so it's okay. As soon as you notice it, of course, for a lot of stuff now, it's not maybe 30 years ago, maybe it was a couple days ago, but as soon as you notice it, just sit with it and come into yourself, come into that. So let's really feel into, kind of drawn into just having you really feel that spine, the vertebrae, that whole structure of the I want to say column, but I feel like there's another word that goes there that's not coming to mind. But it's there, and just feel like you're kind of gently a little bit leaning into it, and it's there. It's supporting you. You know, your spirit has got your back. And letting yourself go into that. Let yourself breathe into that. Ooh, all right. I'm going to start clearing a little bit with the group. A lot of stuff coming in the spine, a lot of, you know, just the way I see distortions coming up. I think people are releasing. I know there was a Vax after effect call earlier today, so if anybody was on that, that could be part of the deal here. So let's clean that up for you guys. There we go. Some of you may be noticing there's a lot of releasing that's happening from the right side, so center to right. And so that's coming in. Come down. Let's have everybody come down into their lower spine, their lower abdomen. Kayla, so much clearing out from my back today. I call it now. Good, yes. And Dee, hi, good to see you. Dee coming in from London. I know we have a couple people from Netherlands on here too. And Michelle, hello, Michelle, welcome. So we're getting into the spine here today. So everybody come into your lower, like hip level, about a little bit below waist, but about waist on down to the pelvic floor. Wow, there's a lot that's clearing out of that. And really breathe into that. So feeling that spine. And if you're just joining in, just kind of like if you're just lightly leaning back, just feeling that spine that's there, that's holding you up. And then dropping down into the lower abdomen. A lot clearing out. So that's kind of the seat, that whole hip pelvic girdle, that's, you know, kind of the seat of the physical identity, you know, our physical identity right here, our physical beings. A lot of good stuff releasing for people. That's great. Very good. It's kind of a good combo. Having come up in some other group meditation and then coming here to clear it, so that's perfect. But it's good because this is about learning to work through it. And then from there, you can see you kind of typically get like the tip of your tailbone, and so putting your awareness on that tip of that tailbone and feeling from that tip of that tailbone without moving your awareness necessarily anywhere. There's just that pull to the earth. It's almost like this magnetic pull that's there that connects you up to the earth, to the planet, to being here. And even keeping your awareness on the tailbone, you can feel that dropping down. It's sort of like this line dropping down, this ray of magnetic pull, gravity, just a ray of gravity pulling you down to the core. Let's get everybody. It could keep dropping down. Some of you are in deeper than others, so I'm going to if you're in deep, that's good. Hold it there. And I'm going to just keep focusing on dropping down to the core. All right, who's not dropping here? Somebody's not dropping in here. So I'm going to, there's a couple people, I see a couple people who are kind of not down very much, so I'll just work on that. So everybody just focus on tailbone and dropping down, that gravity pulling down, that gravity that helps to create the density of this body, feeling into that. Okay, yeah, somebody's clearing out some fear. So fear of being present in the body. Yeah, fear of being in the physical. So that's basically, that can tie into fear of annihilation, basically. So the spirit having a hard time kind of coming in and physically, really getting anchored in physically because of some past trauma, whether it's this life, whether it's a birthing trauma, whether it's before this life. So everybody's doing good. Yeah, I've got these people are moving along a little bit better. There's some separation here that's happening, so I'm going to work on that piece. There we go. Yeah, that's kind of the separation. So that separation between the personality, I'll call it the personality. Some people might call it the ego, but that gets a little too charged. But the personality level that lives in this physical environment, this physical life, and our spirit level, or our non-physical level. So let's see if we can really anchor that connection in more strongly for everybody here. So really just everybody just kind of keep breathing into your spine. And just keep breathing into that. I'll work a little on my end here. And you might feel some of you might feel some resistance coming up, like tension coming up. Just kind of breathe into that if you notice it. There we go. Okay, that feels better. If you had a sense of that, you can feel free to comment in. Okay, now there's a much better flow through. A little bit more settle into the body. So notice that. And really, so let's bring in more of the body here. Kind of been focused more on the spine and the lower pelvic area. So let's start with the legs, the whole legs, hips all the way down to the feet. Anchoring into those legs that carry us, or represent that carrying us. What comes to mind is people who are physically handicapped and cannot use their legs. They're disconnected from their legs. So that grounding can be a little bit more challenging, but even if your legs are cut off, energetically at that non-physical level, there's still, the definition is still in there. And that's why you have people who, amputees, who can, feel like an itch in the part of the leg that's no longer there. Because that energetic structure, and all the way into the frequency level is there. It's still there. That structure comes in first, and then it's like the shape of a leaf. So you'll have that energetic shape that comes in, and the frequencies all the way down to the energetic shape, and then the physical leaf grows into that, fills in. So keeping that awareness in those legs all the way down to the feet. Some people I feel like some people have, somebody's got foot stuff going on here. It kind of looks like it's the right foot. And either maybe some accident, and it could be, it could also be somebody else's frequencies, or genetic pattern from family lineage that's kind of coming through. That's there. So really breathing into those feet. Let's breathe in. You can, if you do it more than one breath, that's fine. Feel like as you breathe in, you're pulling through the tips of your toes. You're pulling that energy in. You're pulling in and filling up the toes, like you're sucking on a straw. See how far, and you can actually do that if you want, like literally sucking. I got a right foot thing. There you go, Catherine. That feels like that's family lineage stuff. So inherited, because there's that pattern. But if you want to go, also just for the sound effects, and also for that feeling, to really pull that energy into your feet, into your ankles. Make those ankles nice and solid. So Catherine, feel into that right foot, and go into the details of that right foot, the skin. There's the tendons, there's all those bones. Looking at online at the diagram, because there are quite a few bones, and they actually, like the toe bones are actually very long. They're a lot longer than where the skin and the flesh part goes. The toenails, the ankle bones, really look at it. My dad has it. Okay, yeah, and probably my sense is, I would say like 3 generations back at least, like maybe somebody had almost like had an accident and they ended up with a club foot or something, like their ankle got smashed, so they were kind of mangled in that right foot kind of feeling. Yeah, there we go. Filling up those feet and pulling up into the legs. So sucking it in. When we do, it's a little stuff like that can really bring in that focus. So bringing it into the knees. These are important joints. And then moving into that one bone in the thigh, that longest bone in the body, and going all the way into the core of the bone, which is the marrow, because that's part of your immune system. So bringing that cleaning, that awareness into that, and pushing everything out. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so there's some of it is moving off for you, Catherine, but some of it is also a little attached. Let's see, Ilaria, I feel my toes tingling. Yes, I didn't see that comment about earlier. So cute. Yes, absolutely. You bring your awareness into the area; it brings it to life. So the tingling is, that presence, your presence in there, your awareness in there, which is really important. Okay, and then up into the hips. So really feel like those legs are just glowing, and really feel those legs. Feel the muscle tissue. There's tendons. There's maybe you have some fat in your legs, depending on your body. Maybe it's just all muscles. And feeling into that. Energy does not move through the fat. It actually moves only through the muscles. So, just FYI. Yeah, and there's so cellulite is coming in the thighs, and that's there's circulation that's not proper in there. Part of that is lymphatic circulation. So might be nice to just really squeeze your thighs here while we're at it. That will help to bring in your awareness there. But so that's always good to work with. Cold water also, like taking a warm shower and then cold water, especially if you have a handheld thing that you can do your thighs, for example, lower abdomen. That's real good for circulation, blood and lymphatic circulation. Okay, feel those legs. Notice. So take a step back and just take a deep breath in. Open your eyes. Reset. Close your eyes. Look inward with your eyes closed, and kind of getting rid of this mosquito. And notice how your legs feel compared to the rest of your body. As soon as we bring our awareness in, that's going to feel different. There's going to be some aliveness. It could also bring to awareness like more tension. That's, because all of a sudden you're noticing, or one side might feel more tense, more dense, larger, smaller, more compact, different things than the other. And I remember doing more along the energy healing about 20 years ago. And people, when I was doing in person on the table, people lying on the table and they're lying like this. And you think like you're straight, because that's happened to me too. You think you're straight and you're actually lying like this, when straight up and down the table. Because part of what's happening is the energetic flow is twisted, and so and those deeper patternings into the frequency patterning that is causing that. So let's come into the lower pelvic area again. Let's add that to the legs, to that And that's clearing up pretty fast there for people. That's good because we were working on that earlier. Actually, coming into the legs, there's a lot of heaviness down, like that people were kind of almost literally sitting on. Stuff that was in the process of clearing out. So that's much clearer now for people. Yeah, some sadness is coming up too for some people, someone. Okay, sense of disconnection there, yeah. So feel that connection to self. In my legs, I feel more voluminous. Yes, in my legs, yeah. Yeah, good, yeah. And voluminous might feel like, okay, I don't want to feel that way. I want to feel thin, vibrant volume, because you feel the volume of your body. I mean, if you think of the volume of your body, I mean, my arms, okay, I'm putting that's like, okay, there's volume there, you know? So, all right, yeah, so connecting back to that loneliness, connect to self. So coming into that connection to yourself. And if you feel that loneliness or that sadness, just notice that, just say, okay, that's something I'm experiencing. And then feel your body even more, come more into your body. Yeah, there we go. And as you kind of put more attention on the physical tissues of your body, that will create that separation, you know, and just staying really focused and present in the physical tissue as you notice that feeling, you know, and your main focus of your main awareness is your physical tissue, like your skin, your flesh, your bones, you know, holding on to that for life, you know, for dear life, because that is your life, your physical body right there. And that's shifting out. So really good, very good there. Lower from below the ribs on down. You know, the front, there's that soft belly in the front. In the back, it's not quite as soft, but there's the spine in the back. Noticing that spine in the back, and there's that whole pelvic structure in the bones. So there's the hip. I can't remember the names of the bones. The hip bones, the pelvic bones in the back there that really just create that seat. So feel that skeletal seat that you have in your body that's there. And the front there's that softness, there's the whole intestinal tract in there. There's the bladder, there's the sexual organs, you know. And the kidneys are actually behind the lower ribs, the floating ribs, I think, kind of that level. Laura, in the last 2 weeks, I've been experiencing nausea on and off with different intensities. Thanks, this detox. Okay, there's a lot of reasons for that. I'll explain a really big one, and then we'll check into that. Yeah, you've got some stuff coming up. There's this quality in the tissue that I would call frozen, when there's like emotional content there from an experience, because our experience and our emotions and our everything is not just stored in our heads. It's stored every tissue in our body, every cell, you know, so it could be in one area. And what happens when we come more into our body, very typical response of bringing awareness into certain areas of our body is nausea. And I have had people almost get to the point of throwing up while I was working on them, as I'm getting them to really come into their body. It's kind of typical of the solar plexus, but it doesn't have to be just in the solar plexus. So breathing into that, sitting with the nausea. So people, so I would have literally people say, "Oh, I think I'm going to throw up." It's like, okay, take a deep breath in. That's fine. You're fine. It's okay if you throw up. Pull out the trash cans, like it's right here if you need it. Just breathe into that. Just breathe into the nausea. Just sit and be with it, because it's something that's the tissue's like literally thawing out because you're bringing your awareness into that. So it's thawing out and it's coming back to life. It's like when your fingers get frostbite. When the sensations come back into the fingers, it really hurts because the nerves are coming back into line from being numbed out to the point of not feeling anymore. So same thing, just at an energetic level. You're releasing a lot of family stuff, so good for you. Um, God, yeah, there's quite a bit there. So really breathe into that and feel into that. And so again, that separating yourself out might be really helpful too, of noticing that nausea, wherever that nausea is. I really see you've got a lot that's clearing out in your lower waist on down, actually. But you could be bringing your awareness in somewhere else, but that's where I'm seeing it. And yeah, it's thick, so it's good for you. Noticing the nausea, and then bringing, as you're noticing the nausea, noticing the again, the physical, so body, so the skin, the flesh, the bones, and even naming those pieces as you go through that for yourself. So let's everybody take a nice deep breath in, and let's come into that alignment with your core, your spine, if that's easier. Feeling yourself settle into that skeletal seat that you have. It's fun. What's coming to mind, the imagery that's coming to mind, is there's those seats, those swings in the States for like little babies or little kids, that it's just like this plastic. They have their legs stick out, and then it's like this little thing that holds them completely. So that sort of, that image for, there's your pelvic bone structure there that's holding you. That's really a good anchor, sitting, being held there. So, and that's holding the whole lower pelvic piece. Yeah, there you go. Breathing into that again. Let's take a nice deep breath in. Yeah. Okay, much better. That's a bit clear for you, Laria, now, so that's good. Let's come up that spine. Follow that curve of the spine, and then you get to a point, and then you've got those floating ribs. They might come to mind when you get to that point. And floating ribs, because they're not attached to the front. All the ribs, there's the sternum that they attach into, and then there's the back, but the lower ones, forget how many there are, 2, 3, that are only attached to the spine. So that's why they're floating. And they have probably more room for expansion there. And underneath that, you get to the intestinal tract, you start getting into the liver, the gallbladder on the right side, and then the spleen, the pancreas, the stomach on the left side. They kind of meet up in the middle there for the digestive process. As you breathe, notice that that area expands out. And you might also notice that there's a feeling like it's on those organs, there's a little bit of pushing down as the ribs expand out. That's the diaphragm. That's the normal process. And as you exhale, the diaphragm goes up and kind of squeezes the lungs. So that moves us up into the upper torso. And feeling that. Okay, there's some interesting stuff going on in here. How many is that? Just one person or more than one person? Let's see what's going on. One person. Okay, I got one person here in the group that's got. It's like I'm seeing somebody. It's interesting because I'm just seeing their legs, so it's almost like there's. It's an overlay of another reality of somebody else that's standing there in the person. Curious what is up with my right hip, and it's falling in and out of alignment. Okay, let me get to that and let me clear up this piece first. You know, and it's almost like there's somebody standing on your chest, but it's interesting because it's not like you're lying. It's not usually lying down like if standing. I kind of think like that, but it's like the person is like this, and then there's this overlay. Oh, okay, yeah. That's basically having somebody standing on your shoulder, so being a support for somebody. So they're standing on your shoulder, and you're holding them up. Just that their weight has, instead of just being on the shoulders, they've sunken into your chest. So if you're having breathing issues, and even just kind of like having breathing issues, even just in terms of having a little bit hard time breathing deeply, that's the reason. So let me see if I can shift that. This is old. This is interesting. This is family past life. This is a past life thing. So coming in from another time and space. So everybody take a nice deep breath into your spine as I clear this one up. This is an interesting piece, but it kind of comes back to being present moment. So let's come into that spine. Let's come into that rib cage, really focusing on the ribs, noticing that expansion and that contraction of that ribs. And let me give me a moment of silence here as I work on this piece. Okay, there we go. That should feel a bit lighter, easier to breathe. So everybody, yeah, continue into your breath. There's still some more clearing up. Kayla, what's coming up is immediately is the first thing that's coming up is that it's in the process of coming into place, but it hasn't quite gotten there yet, and that's why it keeps going into place and coming out, going into place and coming out. So there's still some shifting that's happening in that right hip as you come more into that ownership, so to speak, of that for yourself. As that gets anchored in. Okay, let's come back into the chest. And nestled in the chest and the lungs is the heart. I think it's like the heart is like the size of your fist. Maybe not, maybe a little bit bigger, but you know, it's like kind of get that sense of, and just to have a sense of size-wise. And if you notice your breath first, maybe breathing a little bit more slowly. And slowing your mind down as we focus on the breath. Dropping into the chest there a little bit more with your mind. And noticing, even as you notice the in and out breath, the heart beating. And if you get real quiet, you might also feel that as it pumps the blood, and through your whole body, that kind of pulsing flow of the blood supply through the whole circulatory system. So down, up, down, up, down, up. It's almost kind of like a spongy, squishy feeling. Feeling the hip muscles activate that word before. There we go. So letting ourselves kind of rest into the heart there. And if you feel, it might feel like the heart's beating a little fast, just take a deep breath and let yourself come down out of the head more. And relax down. Yeah, into that heart space. And let's follow that pumping from the heart into the arms. Flowing all the way down to your fingertips. And so now, becoming aware of the arms, the torso, the legs. Coming into the back again. Kind of put a lot of attention more towards the front. So let's bring in the back a little bit more. Remember all of that kind of leaning into that spine. Filling that back side. That's an important place to go because that control piece is people for carrying, if we're a burden carrier, people have hopped on our shoulders, on our back, coming into our backs, taking back that space for ourselves and extending backwards to own that space. We're in the head a lot, thinking tendencies to kind of pull forward, and so even energetically, it's like here, if you're top of your field is like this, your body should be here, and if we're thinking too much, say this is the here's the the fingernails are the front of the head. We're going to pull this way, and it's gonna shift energetically. It's going to shift us this way. So relaxing into the back, into the spine. Yeah, that's feeling better. So feeling that whole body, and then the neck, adding the neck to that. Let's take a moment for the neck. Ooh, The food, the water, as we drink, as we eat, as we breathe, all that going right through the neck. That's it's a simple mechanism, and you really notice it when it goes down the wrong pipe when you're swallowing it. It's like, right? And when we're not present, when we're pulled up in our heads, that's usually when that happens. They're focused elsewhere. We're not present in our bodies. So if we're pulled up this way, then it's, that's more likely to happen than if we're settled in, settled down. The vocal cords are amazing too. Amazing. Vibration. Take a moment to just hum. Feel that vibration. If you just put the top teeth to your bottom lip and vibrate your vocal cords, you feel that. Kind of tickles, so that vibration going through the whole body. And let's come into the head. Let's come into the head, but from being in the body. So we're still in the body and we're adding in the head. Awareness of the head, the skull. So clearing up a little bit of the head space there and for people. Yeah, there we go. Nice. All right. Just a little film there to clear up in general. And top of your head. Come into the top of your head. Note it. Be aware of that. Not shifting up, staying anchored into your body. Noticing that. Noticing your eyeballs, your eye socket, a lot of tension for, especially those of us wearing glasses, I think. I'm always very aware of the tension in my eyes. It's been there for a long time with the glasses. Top of your head, back of your head, your sinuses, the mouth, the teeth, the whole teeth and gums and cavity of the mouth. And down into the below the chin. And letting yourself drop all the way down into your body from that place. Top of your head to your toes. So, really good work. Just kind of take a moment to just sit and be in your body. Yeah, today's session really gives that voluminous, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but voluminous feeling in the whole body. And feeling that. And feeling that weight of your body. Even if you only weigh 65 pounds, that's still 65 pounds. Go try to lift 65 pounds and see what that feels like, 65 pounds is pretty thin. I just kind of went extreme there, but I weigh about 107, 110, I think. That's decent weight, Okay, good session. Next week again, same time, same place. If you want to do more individual work, you know where to find me at unboundandfree.com. Check this out. Also, if you're on YouTube, if you put a like, or if you subscribe and then like, just so that can reach out more people that can get that support to really have that group support to come in and do this to get more anchored in. And if you know anybody who's, especially like more kind of beginners who might, who could who could benefit from the support of coming in here and doing this, please share this. And that's it for today. Great session. I feel all my fat. Good vibes, good vibes, good vibes. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's good. It's if your body needs to have that, that's fine. Working to come into what your body needs. So that's okay. There's no judgment on that. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, good to see you, Diane. I'm glad you made it. Amazing session. Thank you so much. Spreading word on your. Yeah, thanks for that. I appreciate that. And this is always good. So all of you, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next week, if not before, in the ethers or elsewhere. So take care. Amazing session. Thanks so much. Yeah. And thank you all for showing up.